All right, here we go. Happy Love Day to y'all. Yeah. And it just occurred to me, like, well, we try to go live whenever we seem to have time to the point where we can kind of make this more a regular thing. But when I was just putting together a couple of things, a couple of court cases about things that reasons why people kind of look and say, I don't know about this, or more importantly, should kind of take pause sometimes and say, maybe I shouldn't rush into something like this. Maybe I shouldn't be rushing into whatever relationship is out there, or just because you're lonely sometimes, and you want to make sure you can have someone to cuddle up with. Yeah. But the whole point of it, right? Sometimes I like looking at court cases. I know something you do as well, and just kind of create a little space, a little morning show where we could talk about stuff like this. Um, and just as anything else, try to get it off the ground, and maybe it ends up being for the replay game. But we're trying to make sure we've got everything looking good, looking right. I think we're public. Uh, uh, jump in whenever you feel free. If you're just joining us, you're just finding the channel, finding the page. Hit a like, subscribe to the channel. And see. So yeah, we're just gonna go through a couple of cases that I found kind of interesting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I got your motion relative to child support. And the motion claims that his child turned 18 and graduated from high school. So I contacted them, the front of the court anyway, so they could confirm that, because generally that's all you need. All you need to do is send a copy of could be a diploma, could be the high school transcripts. Once they get proof of that, they'll stop the child support. Okay. The problem is um, uh, they can't. Apparently, Mr. Brown does not have access to that information. So let me first turn to Mr. Brown, and then I'll hear from Miss Dennis. Is that correct, Mr. Brown? You can't figure out if this child did in fact graduate?
I hold on. What I just pushed this start video thing.
Go ahead.
I can't get the camera to come on.
But you don't have to. I can hear you just fine.
Okay. They've been in Detroit for like 6 years or something. So, but I have like Facebook stuff. I got pictures of her graduating. She graduated in May of last year.
Hang on a second. All right. Well, this should be easy to figure out.
Right. Like, I thought child support was supposed to be there for when you guys are, when the child is still a child. When you get to high school, it's supposed to be, you graduate high school, it's supposed to be over. I know some states do it a little differently. Some states that you go on to 21. I think New York might be one of them, depending if the child's enrolled in college.
Dennis,
yes. Yes.
Do you know what we're talking about here?
Yeah. Let me just start off by saying this. Yes, it's going on 7 years that I've been here in Detroit. He haven't talked to my daughter since she was 12. She had life monumental moments, graduating prom. She in hair school. She graduate November of this year. So he never reached out to say congratulations, never, nothing on nothing. But it's temporary for him. Is a lifetime for me. She's 18 and she transitioning. She paid for cosmetology school out her pocket, trying to make ends meet. So that little bit do help. And as far as the child support goes, he ready to put an end to it because he don't talk to her. He don't talk to me. I done reached out, text him and everything, and it's nothing. But he could go down there to the court and say that she done and this and that. He got pictures when he don't even talk to her. My baby going through what she go through behind him. And I would like for the child support to continue on until her 19 to the end of her 19 year. It stopped. And
From an emotional point of view, right, we sort of get what you're saying, right? My costs still continue because I'm the one just with the kid, and you're missing these milestones. And I get that. And but sometimes you see a lot of the arguments end up being emotional ones. Right? I have to do this, so you should now kick up, or it's not fair, so you should do this. One of the things that I think we all are wholly, sometimes ignorant of ends up being just that very thing about the law. We think that because this feels good or feels bad, that you should now you should have to do these things, right? You should have to come here and support me for longer because it feels like that's the right thing to do. But the law, and this is again, we have this ignorance in the law, especially in black. We're aware of some charges in terms of, you know, capital murder. But when it comes to child support, when it comes to understanding that you need to understand what the law will allow and won't allow, what can and cannot happen, and then sort of hold the courts to that very thing. One of the very, fundamental things right there is going to be, once that child ages out. Doesn't matter if he wasn't there supporting, doesn't matter if if he missed milestones. This is it.
September. The court told me it stopped in September of this year, but I would like it to go to her 19th year because I still have expenses with her. It don't stop for me, but it stopped for him. And he wrote that motion. She done with school. She done with that. He want to wash his hands of her completely. And I feel like that's so unfair that I didn't lay down by myself. I laid down with him. And not once he contribute to anything. In 3 years, I came down here and I lowered his child support to $35.
Yeah,
35.
right.
If you see in them records, you look in your records.
If all right, let's go on record, right? You being a deadbeat dad is not cool, right? Period. Absolutely not. That's not cool. We don't want to make it sound like we're condoning that, we're supporting that. Um, but if you lowered it for $35, then was it in hopes that he would do more, or was it in hopes that you'd give him a break, or if it is $35, why we? That's not going to be $35 a month. Is not going to be anything to help your kid now that your kid is now graduated high school. It's If this is true, right? At some point, just let that shit go. This guy's a piece of ish, right? He hasn't been there for your daughter. Why continue to have any type of continuation with that? And again, I know it's Valentine's Day and it's probably not the appropriate time for something like this, but just follow with me.
See in the record, me and him came down to the courthouse. I lowered the child support down to $35 only on the strength of he get her on weekends, get her on holidays, get her on summer vacation. And he couldn't do that. And I had to wait 3 years to raise the child support back up because he still refused to participate. So
okay. All right, I got the picture. I want to tell you both something. There's a lot of things I can do sitting here today. But there's two things I cannot do. And I hope the parties understand. I can't make somebody a good father or mother. I can't do that. I wish I could. Because if I did, I would have probably very few of these cases. But I can't do that. And I wish I could, because I think your daughter deserves better. She deserves something. The second thing is I cannot violate the law. Okay, I have to follow the law. And the law in this case says that someone can collect child support until the child is 18 or graduates from high school, whichever occurs later. Now, she has done that, okay, by everybody's admission. So the law says that I have to terminate his child support, but I am doing it effective the date he motioned me, which is the first charge date. He motioned this on January 9. So the first charge date, somewhat close to that, is January 1. So I'm going to grant the motion to terminate child support effective January 1, 2025. And what you need to do, Mr. Brown, is you need to come to the courthouse on the 5th floor Legal Assistance Center and prepare an order for me to sign, which you need to send to Miss Dennis. And the order says that your child support obligation for this child terminated on January 1 of 2025. And I will sign that. And I wish everybody the best. I wish your daughter the best.
Say one thing.
Sir, yes, sir. Can I say something too? I'll let her go first.
Stop.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Right. Go ahead, real quick.
Hey, so the courts told me that the child support is ordered all the way until September of this year. So you throwing that order out?
There's no order saying that.
That's what the courts told me. That I called it.
I should tell you this, Miss Dennis, that unless you have paid the person to give you advice, you shouldn't rely on it. Okay? Because what I'm thinking is they may have told you what happens if she's still in high school, maybe not. Child support goes until someone graduates from high school or turns 18, whichever is later. I've had a lot of 18-year-olds still getting child support because they haven't graduated high school yet.
And that's a problem in itself, right? Yeah. You haven't graduated and you're eating out, but child support continues. That'd be like an awful strategy to continue to get child support. But this is one of the situations where you're showing up to court really just ignorant of the law. And I get it, we all can't afford representation, but the internet is absolutely free. Right? But enough where you should understand what type of argument you're going to be able to put forward and what's going to work or not. If you're in here saying, well, I want this to continue, you probably should have an understanding of what the law allows before you do something like that. Very much before you've got the judge sort of lecturing you guys as adults about how you should be parenting. One thing she said in an effort to sort of learn more about the law and child support is, I think I came across enough. I looked it up where you can only adjust the child support every so often. I think some places 2 years, some places 3 years. So when she said she lowered it to 35 because he was getting his kid on the summers and such, and then that stopped. Well, she was stuck with that order unless you have something else showing there's been a significant change in that person's income. So in that sense, it's like you don't want to find yourself in this situation, right? You think yourself as a grown up, an adult. Now you have to have others come in and tell you how to run things in your life. Yeah, and ideally, people would be like the judge and understanding and saying, "Yeah, we're just here to do what's best for the kid. That's the goal. That is the goal. Period." But when our other feelings get involved and we decide that we kind of want this, we want this instead, then we're left with kind of just saying, we're going to have the law come in and mediate, the law come in and decide how we run our lives. This is like this is a good commercial for contraceptives. It's like, do you want to be part of this? Do you want to see something like this? What's going on, Jazz? Thank you for joining. Hit that like button if you're new here, and hit that like button. Consider subscribe to the channel. We're doing this little morning show to keep it going.
I've had a lot of 19-year-olds who get child support because they haven't graduated high school. But this child has graduated high school and is over 18. And the law says I have to stop it, but on the effective date of a motion to stop it. This motion was filed January 9. So the closest charge date I have is January 1. And that's as far as I can stop it. Like I said, all I can do is follow the law. And that's what I have to do. Now, Mr. Brown, what can I do for you?
Well, I got two questions. You said go over there to the 5th floor and get a what, man, sir?
Mr. Brown, you're getting yourself into more difficulties. You really need an attorney to help you because, so I need you to go, you know where the courthouse is?
Yes.
On the 5th floor.
Right.
It's called the Legal Assistance Center.
Right.
I need you to go there and they will help you prepare an order terminating your child support effective January 1, 2025, and that all arrearages are preserved. Period. That's all you got to do. And then they will prepare the order. You got to send a copy to Miss Dennis at her last known address. You send me the original. If nobody objects within 7 days, I'll sign it and you will be done and this case will be over. Okay?
All righty. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Good luck to you.
You too.
That doesn't sound like overly complex for him to do, but in terms of getting it done, expeditiously on time, yeah, you probably want some sort of assistance on that. And this would be a perfect time for me to plug, my law firm or something. But realistically, what I'm trying to get at is you want to, when you make these moves, have to go in front of the court, or you have to do anything like this, treat it just like when you were in school. And I think one of the things my father was really good at when we were in elementary school is before we went to school, already had the lesson. We already saw what was supposed to be, what we're going to be learning. We weren't unfamiliar with the concept. And unfortunately here, if you have a baby father, baby mother, you should be familiar with the law. You should be familiar with what the ins and outs and what happens. Because otherwise you'll go there blindsided, thinking that what you know, right, what you're saying emotionally makes sense. Well, it's only logical this, yeah, but what the law says is very different. Then you also don't want to be taken advantage of. And we're all saying this, right? You don't have the money for a lawyer or you don't know where to go for free services. Look up for free services. This is one of those things. Again, it's Valentine's Day, but if you're about to have a good night tonight and think about making a baby, please make sure some of this stuff
Good
makes
morning.
sense, right?
The 2023 case was filed on November 29th and service was proper on December 18th of 2023. We did receive a response from the defendant on January 16th of 2024 requesting genetic testing. Genetic testing was entered on February 1st of 2024. While it did take some time to get the parties sampled, we were able to get those parties sampled as well as the child. It was determined that the defendant is the biological father. Sorry.
Please proceed, Mr. Hunt.
Sorry, for the minor child in this matter. Notably, Your Honor, as you indicated, the parties do have a 2013 case for 2 other children. I am requesting that case be consolidated into this one. A pre-hearing conference in the 2023 case was held with both parties via phone on July 3rd. I did collect their information. It is in front of you as proposed for the judgment of paternity and child support order. Now, it was brought to my attention that one of the children is biologically not the defendant's child. However, there was the 2013 case did establish paternity for that child. And as such, the child support order in this matter pertains to all 3 of the children, since legally that child is the defendant's, although biologically may not be. I am requesting.
Now, think about it like this. Take it from this. You're in front of, law clerks, lawyers, attorneys, and they're just airing out all your laundry, airing it all out, talking about this kid isn't his biologically, but he has to take care of that. Like, these are the intimate details and moments that you have to start thinking about. Do I want particularly this in my future? You want to be up there, and this is a Zoom call, but presumably testifying in court about the ins and outs, specifically about your children, especially when this, later on becomes public knowledge. If they were so inclined, they could look this up. We're almost always at the forefront of technology. We're almost all pioneers, but we don't really think about it like that. We think about pioneers like you're going out west for the gold. You're traveling into parts unknown, like the Star Trek of old, not the Starfleet thing they're doing now. So a lot of the things that we're doing now end up being, public. You can go there and you look it up. This is why when we're looking at particularly like OnlyFans, people are saying, "Yo, what happens if your children start looking that up?" Now we're at that point where you're seeing a little bit more of that information happen. You see a little bit more examples. There was that famous little clip where the brother was talking to his sister, like, "Why'd you go to school and get all these straight A's if you were just going to do this? I'm being bullied." And she looks like she's kind of stricken by it, but then immediately turns around and is like, "Yeah, but I'm making money." So to me, I don't want to be dragged in front of court to have all this talked about, to have those put out. And I understand that at some point in time, this is what has to happen. Right? When things are not when things are not good, things are not getting along. Sometimes you need the law to come in and intervene and put down order and say, well, all right, since you guys cannot get along, since you guys cannot come to the conclusion, this is what's going to happen. The problem is when we go in there, sort of ignorant of what's happening, we end up being sort of victims, right? And this is on both sides of it, right? Like the woman in the last case thinking, well, we should just continue the child support thing going because I didn't get my money for 3 years. I had to set it $35 a month. Thinking I'm trying to help him out, but he just turned out to still be a deadbeat, and you had to wait 3 years to adjust that. Ooh, this one, it's like you should know you've got a certain amount of time to contest paternity. After that, the law is looking and saying someone has to raise this kid and someone has to pay for it. And since you were married at the time or your name's on that birth certificate, it's going to be you. Now, do we see examples of this to the extreme where it's almost always like sort of abused? Yeah, you could see where there was a case where a woman simply wrote in a man's name, right? The guy had no idea that he was in arrears for child support. He's like, I don't have children, right? But you're in court and they've already picked you up, right? You get a speeding ticket, they run your name, says there's a warrant for your arrest, sir. And now you're arrested for child support, for failure to pay child support payments. And you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Right? And there isn't a lot of recourse available to you at that point in time to help you out. You're just sort of there, stuck. And I think in order to get any real traction with that, I think like a news station picked it up for the ridiculousness of it and decided to help them. But even then, you're going to court. So we were saying before, courts are tied, their hands are usually, sort of tied. So they're looking and saying, okay, you had X amount of time to dispute paternity. Your name is on his birth certificate. Right? You're saying that it was she put your name on that. Cool. This is now they're looking at that saying, well, this has happened. Moving on. Now what? You didn't contest paternity in the first 2 years. Cool. Now what's up? You've got this arrears, and you're like, wait, but it's not mine. Well, you need a paternity test to determine it's not yours. I don't even know the kid. I've never met the kid until this day. And the court's still not looking. The court is inflexible, saying the law bars me from making this move. And then you're sort of just left there in limbo in the middle. And usually that means in prison. It's not a fair system when someone without verification could just simply put your name on it. And she admitted that she did it because she was embarrassed that she didn't know who the father was and that she remembered him from such and such time ago. And that was it. That was enough. But hopefully you've got a complicated last name like mine. It's hard to spell, so someone just can't throw it on there. But outside of that, there's no system in place. Hey, congratulations, you just had a kid. And if you want to, there's no email, there's no mail that goes out. Oh, there's someone registered you as the father of a child. Therefore, blah, blah. No, there's nothing like that. Before we even talk about mandatory paternity testing, which would solve a lot of these cases, we pretend like it doesn't happen enough or it happens so infrequently that what's the point of changing or making something like that mandatory? No, we know we've got a large number of laws on the books that are completely archaic. And a lot of these things aren't touched until there's a movement to go and fix them, to go and address these things. It's surprising and concerning. It's such a long time where men are saying these things don't favor men, but we are not getting out sort of politically and saying, let us now go. And the next person that comes and looking for our votes, we're saying, you need to champion this cause. There's people that look and say, well, my vote doesn't matter. Well, this is how you kind of make this is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Yeah, Jazzy, yeah. Child support for a child is not biologically yours happens. And then it's happened a lot in like West Africa to an alarming degree of the amount of firstborn sons that are not the dad. And, there's, I think I've got a couple of those saved that I wanted to go over. We can make a whole particular playlist about that.
That the judgment of paternity and child support order be entered today. The effective date, notably, is July 1st of 2024. Should the court choose to change that, I'll leave it to the court's discretion given the circumstances in this matter. But I do believe the documentation is appropriate for entry today, Your Honor. And if the court would like me to weigh in on the 2013 case, I'd be more than happy to do so in the best way I can.
If you stick around, I may have you do so. Ms. Johnson, on the 2023 case, any questions?
No.
All right.
I do have a question about the calculation result.
Okay, that's the question for what's the question?
So it says he'll pay $14.60 a month, but then it says he'll be paying me $11 on the fourth page.
Those are the birth expenses. He's not paying. Wait, where do you see $11?
It says calculation results, and then it says Thomas is paying Kimberly $14.60 a month, and then it says support amount based on known actual income of parents. Thomas paying Kimberly Johnson $11. It's in the little box at the end.
Your Honor, I can comment on that.
Yeah, please do.
The little box on the end. Now, I've not received formal training on this little box at the end of our calculations after a few years of doing this, or a couple of years, however long I've been doing this. I have gathered that when an individual's potential income is used, calculation will look at what we imputed the individual to, and that's where the $14.60 a month comes from. Now, because his actual income is not the potential income we've given him, essentially left him at zero, that's how much it would have been.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
Multiple individuals question that exact same thing. I apologize for the confusion. It's just the way that the formula is run on our side.
Okay, that's all I needed.
I was going to say, I've never heard an explanation of that one either. I've always ignored it because it doesn't make any sense.
Again, I could be wrong, but that is my 5 cents on that. That's what makes sense to me. That's
okay, because it says actual income of zero.
Yeah,
he would pay 11.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson or Mr. Chandler, what's your input on this one? I mean,
1460 just sounds a little expensive to me.
Well, what is your actual income? What are you earning?
I'm not employed right now.
Okay, when were you last employed?
In May.
And what did you do?
I was a truck driver.
What were you earning?
I was getting 50 cents a mile.
And how many miles did you normally travel?
Every week my expectations was around 3,000 miles a week, but I never reached that.
So how much did you normally travel? And
maybe like 1,800.
Okay, at 50 cents a mile, you would have gotten as a contractor?
No, W-2.
So you were a W-2 employee. So they took taxes out of the...
Yes.
So you were earning about $78,000 a year, technically.
No, I only worked. I barely just got my CDL a few months ago.
And why did you lose this job?
Because FOC continues to suspend my license. My license is my job. So if they continue to suspend my license, then when companies find out, I have to have an active license for 6 months before they consider anybody to give me another.
And that becomes one of the greatest injustices. That's when you fail to pay child support, when you're in arrears, they can go after you. They can suspend your license, and usually that's to. I never looked into why that's done when you're making such a monumental thing, and city to city it matters. You make that such a monumental thing that you've removed. Now people are either driving illegally with suspended licenses, not really knowing that the license is suspended until you break some sort of traffic infraction. Then you're thrown in jail. How are you supposed to pay the arrears and child support while you're in jail? It's the old adage of the mafia, right? You owe them money, they break your legs. How am I supposed to pay you? Right? How am I supposed to go out there and pay you? If I could pay you, I would avoid getting my legs broken, but now they're broken and I've pawned everything out. I can't pay the VIG. I can't pay the actual principal amount. You've broken my leg. Great. I'm a great example to the neighborhood, but I still can't pay. So yeah, it becomes a sort of circular trap. I need the license in order to work. Most of us do. and I can't do that because I'm in arrears. You just kind of just stuck. And yeah, we would hope that you wouldn't find yourself in this situation. Plenty of people find themselves there. You have to pay 14 something a month, and you're out of work. Now, let's be fair. Some people see this and they immediately quit. They immediately quit their job. Say, okay, I'm not going to pay that. We're looking at this because this mainly happens to men who use this side of the child support game. You quit your job and you try to find something else that pays you less, or you're willing to live a, a less expensive life, where you're willing to work under the table or off the books, just so you can sort of not do this. Well, what the family court will do, they could assign what you should be making. Right? I think they call it impede or impute what you should be making. There's a woman that's documenting her whole divorce, a stay-at-home wife. She was a stay-at-home wife. Husband wanted a divorce, and she's going there documenting. And I anticipate if it gets more contentious, they're simply going to order her like, stop doing that. But she's going online, documenting the whole thing, and she's saying that they imputed what she would be making if she had actually got a job. They're trying to use that in the child support order, right? Remember, because you can't really adjust it after, for 3 years at a time. It's going to stay stagnant like that. So instead of saying, okay, we know you're going to get child support, we know that. But instead of saying that the disparity is whatever he's making to zero, they're saying, well, you could get a job here. You have the credentials for it. So we're going to use that as the adjustment for the disparity. Okay, if he's making 100,000, you could be making 60. Right? That's a very entry level or returning back to your field. There's nothing really stopping you from doing that. We're going to say, okay, just about someone there. So if you're banking on the child support being one thing, good lawyer is going to say, no, there's nothing stopping her from working. She's not unhealthy. The kids are split between these two equally. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to get a job. Now, this case is different. You got a kid, you got one kid that's not yours, but you're still financially on the hook for. That you still have to sort of make sense of and deal with. And again, I know downside there, right? Right? We're supposed to be in love today, right? We shouldn't be talking about topics like this. But for those of us that are under bad weather, just gonna stay inside all day, we got to go to work, right? This is for us. We're watching it. And if you're new here, like, those that are like, so, we're here for the algo. We're here to let the algorithm know we're here. Still fighting a good fight. Consider subscribing to the channel.
Job.
So we're basically tying his hands, Mr. Hahn?
Your Honor, during the pre-hearing conference, I did ask about his income. He did inform me of the 50 cents a mile at 3,000 miles a week,
Right.
which is what I used. However, when I asked him why he no longer worked there, he informed me that, and I'm going to read my notes, he left for a better opportunity. So he did not indicate that he had any concerns regarding front of the court suspending his license. He said he left for a better opportunity.
Yes, that is true, but that's just my professional answer.
Let me do you all a favor. Yeah, let me do you all a favor. Yeah, I know. Some of us, and maybe some of us, or all of us, at some point in time, we think we're smarter than this. We think we got it beat. We think we got it figured out. This is my professional answer that I'm giving. No. You're either going to tell the truth the entire time, or you're going to lie the entire time. Don't think that you're smarter than people that have seen this day in, day out. When they're done with this case, there'll be another case right after it, right after it. And then you compound this over years. It's not like this is something they haven't seen. They've heard most of the excuses. You're not coming with a supremely unique permutation. No, you give an answer like that, and she specifically said, "Let me reference my notes, i.e., I wrote this down because you thought you were saying something dope, but we got you."
All right. I'm going to hold him at $1,000 a week instead of the 1,500. I'm hearing testimony that he didn't, but we need to get his license reinstated. And that'll be on this case.
Your Honor, would you like that as W-2 or 1099?
W-2.
Listen, if you couldn't pay $1,500 because you're saying you're out of work, You can set it at $1 million. You can set it at 50. You can set it at $100. Either way, I can't pay. I can't. This is exactly what you thinking going in here. I'm leaving this job for something better. This is what happens. You're still on the hook. Yeah, now you saved yourself $500, but this isn't a total. Oh yeah, you don't got to do anything. When it's coming down to talking about you, child support, the way the law is looking at it, this is for the kids. I don't care that you don't have a job now. You still have responsibility for these kids. Now, should there have been talks about that one that's on the record as not his? I think they're gonna address some of that.
Because he's that was his potential, not his actual. Let's get him on what his actual was, and I'll hold him to what a job was that he walked away from.
Another job will not consider me.
Yeah, I understand.
For 6 months.
When did they say? Okay, when did they state? I'll deal with that in a minute. When did they take away your CDL?
Well, the state of Texas have not taken away my CDL, but other jobs, when I apply for more jobs, they do a federal background on my driving record, and when they do that, they see that my license has been suspended in Michigan because they run everywhere that I had a license.
So your CDL is through the state of Texas?
Yes. But when it comes to applying for other jobs, I'm applying for jobs that the terminals reside.
Is it currently suspended in Michigan?
Yes.
And that's due to child support?
I believe so. I never found out why, but every time they send me my driving record, it says that Michigan suspends my license. And I know FOC always suspends my license every month or two.
Great. That helps not. All right. I'm going to combine this decision then. Ms. Johnson, a motion was filed concerning the actual father of your child.
Mm-hmm.
There's indication that you knew in 2012 that Mr. Chandler was not the father of this child?
Yes. And me and his actual father, his biological father, went to court. I don't know what month it is. I don't know if you guys can look that up, but they told me that Thomas needed to file in writing to petition paternity by July of that year. Because I don't know, it was weird. Every time I went to court, I got different answers. It's been horrible.
So, like we discussed, you've got a certain amount of time to contest paternity. We don't think that kid is yours, right? And for whatever reason, we're not going to get into the specifics. Again, that could be an entire live stream in itself. But at a certain point in time, you've got to set aside that, oh, she's going to be unhappy. She's going to be upset. If you really think, and not some, no, you really aren't sure. It's fine for you as a man to get some sort of reassurance. Yeah, order test and don't just go to the Dollar Tree and grab something like that. If you want the court to actually look at it and then it's going to be entered into evidence or on that behalf, you got to go through the court. You can order your stuff from DNA Diagnostics, what the courts typically use, but they're going to say we ordered it and then this happened. I saw this other. I really hope I saved it. I really hope I saved it. But I think at least I know where to find it. Where a guy, right, Punk, we featured something with him on a live stream show 2 weeks ago, where he was staying where he did it the right way. He got married, 5 kids, and later on into the marriage, he decided, I'm done. This ain't working out. Kids are old enough out the house. He was talking. He only made at most $70,000, maybe $80,000. But he gave all the reasons that if I could do it again, I would just have baby mamas. Not advice that I'm agreeing with. But in one of his recent videos, he talked about how one of the kids, I think the youngest, did not look like him, and he was concerned. He was concerned, and it was from an argument that they were having where his wife said, "That kid's not yours." So he goes to Amazon, orders a kit, right? And he said 2 days that he's waiting, can't sleep, upset, right? He's flipping out, right? Test comes, right? He does a swab, or he sets it aside. Then he said he's going out to the gym and something told him, or he forgot something, so he rushes back home. Gets back home and he says he entered through a different way, I think through a patio into the room, and he saw her swabbing one of the other children that he knew that he was sure was his, that looked exactly like him. And he's like, he's flipping out. He's flipping out, and he colorfully said that he went like Ike Turner for a little bit. We don't encourage any of that, right? We're not fans of that. DV, draw the line. But she wasn't sure if the kid was his. He wasn't sure. The test, he ordered another test, and it came back, and it came back as saying that he was the father. But he's like, now, what do you do with that behavior around it? Even if now you're thinking, is this test actually accurate? What do you do around the behavior now? And I've read some other heartbreaking stories where I think there were 5 kids, and one of them for their high school project was testing their ancestry and used one of those kits. Um, used one of those kits and came back that their ancestry was nothing like the father's, right? Like a Nordic thing versus this thing, whatever. The details not. But it was like, no, this is starkly not yours. So, they want to they have, and the family was close, 5 kids. Go to a wife, and she, when the DNA test, when the ancestry kit first came out and it was presented like for a present, hey, we all could do this. This would be cool. She flips out. So the behavior again is there. She flips out. She's like, nah, we're not doing this. Right? We're not doing this. Like she goes to the room, locks herself in the room type thing. But eventually they're like, no, we'll do it. Comes out like 3 of the kids are not his. 3 of the kids aren't. Starts a divorce proceeding, and then she self-deletes. She's like, I'm not dealing with it. Right? So when it does happen, we're not want to make it seem like this is a very regular thing. Happens all the time. But when it does happen, it breaks. It breaks everything. And you consider how important your children are to you, right? Then for women, you're pretty sure this kid is yours. You were there during the labor part. You were there during the part where you kind of had your body twist and turn and create new organs for that. But imagine, you turn around, kid doesn't look like you, and turns out the hospital made a mistake. It's still devastating. It's still devastating. But now, for men, it's like it's not the hospital, it's you. You knew that there was a potential that this wasn't, and I just thought you'd be a good father. A lot of times, that's some of the reasoning that men hear, and it's still. I don't want to hear that I'm a better choice than the guy that you were with at the same time with me. I don't hear that. Right? I don't hear anything like that.
All right. Do you guys have any current DNA tests that show?
So we got one, and it was a Walgreens test, and they couldn't use that.
So that's not right. All right, you guys just went through DNA diagnostics. So they have his genetic material. What they need is Thomas Jan's diagnostic material.
Yes.
I'm going to grant a DNA order because it seems like you two are in agreement that he is not the father.
Yes. Yes.
And that you would prefer to have the child be listed for his real father on the birth certificate.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Because normally what I'm jumping through a couple of hoops with is that a judge denied this in 2018 because no DNA was given to them. I need new DNA testing that shows that he is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a hearing on all of this instead of getting child support on 3 children, Mr. Hahn, currently on an income that he is not expecting. And I'm inviting the friend of the court and you to that hearing because I want to work out something, because if we're tying his hands and this man can't work, that's not helping the kids at all. They're getting no money. I can order $1,500 to $3,000 a month. But if there's no employer, all we're doing is spiraling him into debt that he can never pay, and that will keep round robining without him getting a driver's license that's usable.
Right.
So I need a cohesive and just comprehensive motion on this and a hearing on this. But I need Ms. Johnson and Mr. Chandler to cooperate and get the DNA of young Junior, Ms. Johnson, so that you understand any affidavit of parentage signed by Duran is worthless.
Null and void. Yeah.
Yeah, it's null and void because you got to have him born out of wedlock or not have him have another legal parent.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is trigger a very little used clause in this, and that is sometimes time, even though we can only are supposed to do this within the child's 3 years of birth. My problem is we've got a child out there that you guys knew, and this entire thing, no offense, Ms. Johnson, was based on a lie, that Mr. Chandler was the father. We had jurisdiction at the time, we ordered it, but let's undo a wrong instead and try and get it right. Yeah. But I need the DNA to actually show that for the file, and then we can do it.
The other part, right, that he went as far as he could go on and sort of reprimanding her behavior. He said it was based on a lie. That's it. Right? There's nothing on the books that's saying that this sort of fraud is punishable or you should be fined. It's just like, oh no, it's based on a lie. even if you weren't sure, but it seems like everyone's in agreement. Yeah, this kid's not mine, but you're still on the hook for it. Right? If you're trying to seem like you're amicable, like you're being fair now, then yeah, all this would be outside of the court's jurisdiction. You just say, okay, yeah, these two kids, yeah, we know this one's yours, this one's not. Let's just agree on an amount that makes sense for us, rather than dragging this in the lighter court. Yes, let's work on getting your name off the birth certificate and then this man's name on it. But when you put it all out here for us to see, and then it just looks like there's no repercussions for it, this becomes again an easy moment for men to say, this is not what I want to do.
Calculation based more cohesively on what he can actually earn with the front of the court, and maybe I can get the front of the court and get an order that says he keeps his license.
Okay.
And we will not touch it for a year, regardless of how much is owed.
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
And that way I can also find out from them, because it's not part of the court file, how much arrearage there is.
Yeah, Jasmine, that would make sense, right? That would make sense. And it seems like the judge is going above and beyond to try to correct something that was done wrong. It would be helpful, yeah, to say, yeah, if what you were paying towards that other kid, please credit it towards this one. Would that be helpful to her? And when we're just looking at, these kids still need this X, Y, and Z, but while we're crediting whatever was paid towards this, I have less. I still, it's unfortunately tough. It doesn't make things any easier, and he's still saying he's out of work.
That we're going after. All right. So let's see if we can do this and make it possible to get these kids the money they deserve and the fathers they deserve.
Okay.
All righty. So I'll grant a hearing, Mr. Hahn. I'll invite you, and I'll invite Miss Lipford as well. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I thought because there was emails in the chat that maybe you guys did care about hers. I was trying to be diplomatic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard that in between between the lines. I get it. No. Again, we're just. I know. I'm kidding. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Your Honor, can you please clarify as to how we're doing?
Man, all right. Damn. Yeah, we don't care about it. Yeah. Okay. In that case, yeah, this is fucked up. Right? You're just sitting there. Now you're all giggling, laughing, chilling, like you guys weren't together, and you stepped out on him, had a kid that wasn't his, and you just said, "Nah, write that on the birth certificate. Go ahead, right? That's cold. That's cold." But it happens. How regular is this? And especially, and this is what bothers me a lot, is that we highlight it in the Black community like it doesn't happen in others.
Doing the genetic testing in this matter?
I'm asking them. They did it through DNA diagnostic. They are going to have to get the genetic testing.
Okay.
If you don't, I'm going to have to deny any change.
Okay, I'll get it.
So I'll give you a couple months to do this. I'm reserving the child support for this case, so that we get it right, and we'll do it from the beginning. So if it's two children, it's two. If it's three, it's three.
So I get.
Listen, Jazz, could you imagine a law like that, where they said, "Oh, listen, you've got to make this right." Like the idea of when people make the false, allegations, and I often see the rebuttal against that saying, I don't really see false allegations really hurting people. No, they ruin lives. They ruin lives. Especially the amount of time my TV is just kind of on in the background, watching stuff like, I prefer Dateline, American Greed, but sometimes, Locked Up comes up, and you see the states of some of these guys' lives. I couldn't imagine going to prison, right? I couldn't imagine going to prison because of some false allegation. If I'm in prison, let me have earned it. And if you see me in prison, right? Let's go on a record here. You see me in prison, it's going to be for something white collar, something cool, right? Some money laundering, something like that. But being in, just having your liberty stripped, think about it something simply, right? And I know that they're popping up with phones, and weirdly, a lot of guys in prison are getting with a lot of female guards, a lot of women from the outside. There's so much. I'm thinking about putting together like an actual video compilation just of that. But still, I don't want to be in prison for something I didn't do, or being in prison, period, or anything, We don't look at these things like you destroy someone's life. We don't look at how much you affected someone. We just say, nah, man, take it on the chin. Take it on the chin.
And then I just bring it to FOC, or do I bring it
No,
to the
file it
court?
with the court. File it
Okay.
with the court, send Mr. Hahn a copy as well.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you soon. I'll get you the notice of that hearing as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now,
thank
will you be drafting the order?
At this point, we're just drafting an order granting a hearing. So I'm adjourning the matter on your case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No,
And
thank you.
I have no contact for Thomas. How are we gonna?
You just had a child that you took in for DNA testing that showed Thomas was the father, right? Go
Yeah.
back there and I'll draft a DNA order.
So you don't know where to do this. You can't contact the dude that's the father of the child. No, I can't contact. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, Jazz, you're right. Yeah, you could be unmarried. I don't know if they're married in this case. But yeah, that's no guarantee. Right? There's paternity. No, marriage is no guarantee that every kid that you have is going to be yours. You make that assumption. The law makes that assumption that you guys are married. There's a kid. You're the father. Automatic. The presumption of paternity. But because we don't have mandatory testing, or we as men hear it, hey, I want to get a paternity test, and then the emotional sort of chaos that falls out from that, where you have straight up videos of women saying, "Oh, if you ask me for paternity test, then yeah, I'll give it to you, but we're done. Our marriage is over." Okay, so you're left with, I've got to deal with this sort of uncertainty and walk around with it forever, or I've got to go through and dissolve this marriage and then still be on the hook for money, child support. All the things are like right up there in a man's face, where he's like, wait, why did I do this? Right? If you think about it, just in the leverage side, a lot of men are looking and say, what's the point of this? I'm giving up a lot of leverage because the way the law is sort of structured. If we have kids together, then cool. I'm on the hook for those kids, as I should be. As I should be. But the presumption of paternity that falls upon me, I have to make sure that this kid is actually mine. It's up to me, and if not, I'm going to be charged. But if the kid, you stepped out, you knew you stepped out multiple times, none of these kids could be mine. And since we passed those 2 years, 3 years, now the fight to get my name removed from the birth certificate is an uphill, expensive battle there's no guarantee of actual success there. You're going to be left in a place where you're just victimized there. Now you're upset. You say, you know what? I'm done. Cool. You're in a no-fault divorce state. Doesn't matter, she said. Doesn't matter that these kids aren't yours. Doesn't matter it's a paternity fraud. They're just going to divide the assets and say, oh, yeah, listen, she's going to have primary custody, as you probably want, because some of these kids aren't yours. But now you have to stop to pay. You're still on the hook. Your 401k, your house, all these other assets still are divvied up. Men are looking at that. Young men are looking and say, what? Who persisted under this archaic system, and why for so long? This is the thing. Again, I know it's Valentine's Day. I apologize. But I wanted just to get into the habit of doing more of these, like create a morning show, create something like this. In court cases that tend to be interesting tend to be about stuff like this. So yeah, we'll move on to the next one.
You're not allowed at my house. Don't come to my home.
I won't. Look how you act. To pay $1,000 a month for a child that I haven't seen in 5 years up until 3 months ago is outrageous.
We are here in a suit for modification of support order and to confirm support of rearage. If I could state the terms of a proposed order and then take testimony from the parties.
You may.
So firstly, Judge, the state.
Yeah, I know just talking about, like, yeah, you'd feel a certain way, but you have to, if we're trying to be fair, you're taking the way you might feel about it and you're weighing against that gnawing sort of suspicion that someone would have to live with forever. Which one do you think is easier to deal with? Which one is easier to dispel? If you're looking at something like, I want to be sure. That's it. I want to be sure. Well, you calling me out like this makes me feel this way. Therefore, if I'm feeling this way, you don't trust me, then it's constantly playing that high joker. Then we're done. Then we're done. That's not really compromising. That's not real communication. Hey, I would feel bad. I would feel like you didn't trust me if you wanted a paternity test. Okay, we're going to hold that on one side. And the other side is saying, yeah, I have this suspicion, this nagging feeling, and it hurts me to ask you, but I have to ask you rather than continue for the rest of my life in a way that it may affect how I deal with you, how I deal with this child, and probably how I deal with other children. My behavior outside of the house, also within the house. If this festers, and it will, I'm going to stop trusting you off of a feeling. This may change the way I treat you in the house, how I represent you outside of the house, how I end up withdrawing from the family anyway. Both realistically, both can end it anyway. So if I, the man, I'm thinking that, I'm saying, well, let's pull the pin. Like, yeah, let's pull out the pin on this. If this thing's gonna blow up over this, let it blow up now. Let it blow up right now, rather than we've now gone through life, created dopeness together. We built this business. We paid down equity on this thing. We've got more to split. We've got more to lose. There's more memories. It's only going to get more painful if this ends, and we're both agreeing this is going to end either way. Rip the Band-Aid off. If we look at it like that, which one is easier to dispel? You can jump in therapy and talk about why he feels like this. That's fine. But your feeling versus this person's feeling, you're both willing to, it's a standoff. I'd rather just, if we're gonna have a standoff, like anything I have to do in the day, my to-do list. If you've got to go to work later on in the day, most of the morning and the afternoon is kind of just like still spoiled. It's kind of like, oh, it's kind of sucks, right? I can't really relax because I know I've got this important thing that needs to be tackled later today. It's why I chastise myself every single day. I've got stuff to upload, stuff to prep, stuff to prepare, and I'm getting started on that because I'm creating something else. I'm working on some of the other thing, and it's just sitting there. It's like, you got to post tomorrow, right? You got to post tomorrow. You got to do. The owl's looking at you, and the owl's upset. What are you doing? You're just gonna let it sit there. You're gonna sit. No, you're just gonna sit there and just percolate. Start bothering. No, just get it done. Rip the Band-Aid off. Right? Just rip the Band-Aid off right now.
It is not sitting its request for any judgments to be taken on arrears, as there are none currently owed. Mr. Fentroy would be ordered to apply for or maintain the child on private health and private dental insurance, which is available to him through his employer. And then he would be ordered to pay a proposed guideline child support amount of $1,133 per month, beginning December 1st. Court costs would be as billed to Mr. Fentroy, and Ms. Wells is requesting a finding of non-disclosure. That's the extent of the order. If I may call the parties.
You may.
I'll call the father. Sir, would you please state your full name?
Barry Lance Fantroy.
And you are currently employed and carrying the child on the health and dental insurance through your employer, correct?
I am.
Okay. Now you have been working at this current job since late March. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you have provided me with your most recent pay stub showing your year-to-date wages at that employer, correct?
That is correct.
And you understand that I've taken your year-to-date wages and averaged them out to a monthly amount to give the proposed guideline child support amount. Is that correct?
That isn't correct, because last court hearing, I was told that you were going off of second quarter's earnings, and that if I told you that my hours changed, and you said that we would go off of third quarter's earnings. Since I presented the third quarter's earnings, and it's only 40 hours a week, as opposed to the 84 hours a week that I was working in the second quarter, I am only making $4,000 a month take home as opposed to $8,500 plus per diem and everything else in the second quarter.
Mr.
Also,
Pamela, my question is, do you understand that the proposed amount is based on your average wages since you began working at that employer? I'm only asking if you understand where the proposed.
I understand that now, but that wasn't the conversation the first time. But go ahead.
All right. So you are requesting that the court order something different than the proposed amount based on the fact that your hours have changed at your employer since you began working there. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. When you began working there, how many hours a week were you working?
84 hours a week, plus I was getting $120 a day per diem because I was working as a traveler.
Okay. And when?
What job is this? Oh, hold up. What job is this? I'm I'm a little curious.
Hello, I like money.
How much money you getting?
Did that change?
That changed in late July.
Okay. And what were your hours changed to at that time?
I am now working 40 hours a week and have been since July.
Okay. How many?
And I'm not getting per diem.
How much are you paid per hour currently?
$38 an hour.
Okay. Is there the possibility that you would go back to working more hours than 40 hours per week?
There's absolutely not, because I've been in this industry for 8 years, and every year from November to January, there's little to no work. So I'm currently filing unemployment because I'm not at work. So I'm only realistically working 7 to 8 months out of the year in the industry that I'm in.
My question was, is it possible that you might travel again in the future with this employer?
There's no possibility for the rest of this quarter. No.
I'm not just asking.
Into next year, yes.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other source of income?
No.
Is there any other clarification you'd like to provide to the judge about why you're making this request for the child support to be lower?
As I mentioned, my second and third quarter earnings are different. I just started this employer in March, which would be half of the first quarter. Also, with that being said, again, I'm not making per diem. I'm not working 84 hours a week. I am currently not even working right now as of last week. With that being said, I've been going through this process for modifications for the last 10 years with Jessica. And this, over that time, of course, I was making a different hourly wage, but there was a reason it's been denied for the last 10 years because of the wages and because of the pay. We're talking going from $30,000 and $40,000 a year to making 60 to 70 just this year. And now I don't have an income for the rest of the fourth quarter, right? So with that being said, $4,000 a month income, plus I have $5,200 worth of bills to pay $1,000 a month for a child that I haven't seen in 5 years up until 3 months ago is outrageous. On top of that, I, again, have not seen my child for 5 years before that. I moved to Texas in order to get possession of or custody of my daughter, and I'm still not able to see her. And I live in close proximity of Mrs. Wells. It's extortion. I have to pay for visits. I have to pay for time. And these are cash payments, and that's crazy. But for me to be.
Wait. Cash payments. Listen, anything you do, once you're in this situation, when it gets to this point, you need receipts. You need a trail. You need period. You don't need to go into an app and you can show that, present that to the court. You give them cash, charge that to the game. That's not gonna matter. This is what we're saying in the very beginning. When you don't understand how the law is going to interpret what you're going through, you haven't seen your child in 5 years, 6 years. They're talking about how much you should be paying. They're going to look at it and say, well, that's a separate issue. We can talk about that, or you need to raise that separately in another form, in another way, rather than say, oh, right here and now, oh man, you haven't seen your kid in 5, 6 years. They moved to Texas and then you moved to be there. You still can't see your kid. Okay, let's not. The law is uncaring, and it's supposed to. I think it's designed to be that way. Whether or not it favors you, whether or not it doesn't, and most of the time it's not. It's going to be dispassionate, and dispassionate often reads as it being cold.
Requested to pay $1,000 a month for my child, and I can't even afford to get an attorney to take Mrs. Wells to court to get custody of my daughter. That's crazy.
You know how much you're currently ordered to pay in child support each month?
Yeah, I am. $98 a month, which I don't agree with, but $1,000 is crazy from 98.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, you may call your next witness.
I will call Ms. Wells. Ma'am, would you please state your full name?
Jessica Wells.
Did you hear the terms of the proposed order stated to the court?
Yes, sir.
You understand those terms?
Yes, sir.
And would you be in agreement with those terms being entered by the court today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge as to Mr. Fantroy's income?
Yes.
How?
Just what he tells my child.
Okay. Anything else? Any other way that you have any knowledge about his income?
Those are the parents. Are you describing, your income in totality with your child? He's saying, "This is how much I make. This is per diem. This is what the take home is." It, but he's also saying, right? He's being very clear that I haven't seen my child in 5, 6 years. How is he also discussing what he makes with your kid? I guess that's recently, right? He said as of recently having this. Again, we got to understand what hearsay is.
Sorry, just word of mouth.
You are asking that the court make a finding of non-disclosure so that your address and other identifying information are not included in today's order. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And I'm also asking that he give us the medical insurance card, please.
You already have it.
Has there been any family violence between you and Mr. Fantroy in the last 2 years?
In the last 2 years, no, but I would like to request that he does not have my address or phone number due to previous safety concerns in Nebraska.
Has Mr. Fantroy ever been arrested for domestic violence towards you or the child?
No, sir.
Then why is it that you have a safety concern and are making this request?
We have a previous history of threats, harassment, verbal, physical abuse. He's also stolen from me out of my home and my daughter. He's very verbally and abusive. I mean, you kind of get a preview of it now, how he's acting, but if you guys weren't around or if we was in the same room, he's extremely disrespectful. He's violent. He has been violent. The reason we're in Texas is to get away from him. He has moved here in an attempt to try to get around Nyla, and I have taken her to see him before, and he has stood her up. The second time I took her to see him.
Ms. Wells, I'm only asking about the reason you don't want your address included.
Okay, for safety concerns, he's dangerous.
Okay.
And I fear for my safety if he knew where we lived.
All right. Now you are requesting that he provide you the documents needed for you to use the health insurance that he's carrying for the child. How would you propose that he provide those to you in the alternative?
I have provided him a P.O. box address. I can give that address again. I've asked that he mail the card to the P.O. box. I can show you what he has given my daughter, him and her text. So he has texted her something that.
No, ma'am, I'm just asking where he could send that information.
Okay, sorry.
All right, Judge, I'll pass the witness and ask for a ruling on the child support and the non-disclosure.
Ms. Wells, when you say he's dangerous, what does that mean?
Okay.
What has he done since he's been in Texas that's dangerous?
Well, nothing, since he does not know where I live or does not have a way to contact me. But
okay. So when was the last time he did something dangerous?
2015, 16.
Okay, and what did he do then?
We got in a physical altercation. He put his hands on me and choked me in my home. Okay. And no, I did not call the police.
And were the police called?
No, ma'am.
And did you have to seek medical attention?
I did not. I just stayed away from him. He already does not help me raise her, support her. So it was very easy to just distance myself from him. He doesn't help with anything.
Well, you say he doesn't help with anything, but sounds to me like you don't want him around her. So when you say you took her to visit him, where did you take her to visit him?
Okay, so I have some text messages.
Ma'am, I didn't ask you about text messages. Where did you take her to visit him?
So they had agreed that she was to meet him at a hotel in Dallas on the weekend of June 8th. And this place was not close to me. It was about 40 minutes away. So we drove down there. When we got off the interstate, I said, hey, call your dad and your brother, let them know you're here. And at which time they answered the phone and said, oh, we're not there. We're at North Park. Come to North Park. North Park was on the whole other side of Dallas. They weren't where they just told her they were going to be after she told them she was on their way. And it's not that I don't want her around him. He does not have a consistent relationship with her. He currently has her blocked. She has tried to text him. He has her blocked for the past month since coming to.
Right. Okay. Thank you. How old is your daughter?
13.
Okay. So with a 13-year-old, you shouldn't have to have that much contact with her dad, because she should be able to talk to him. If he comes to your house to pick her up, you should be able to send her out the door, and she should get in the car with her dad and just go.
That's totally reasonable, right? 13, that's totally reasonable. But you get, what some of the crux of what I'm saying here is that when it comes down to your feelings about the father, that law doesn't really care about that. They're not, and unless you got stuff that's documented. You say there was abuse, then they're going to say, did you tell the police? Because otherwise it's hearsay. Otherwise you can say anything that you want to say. You can paint the picture of this guy being sort of terrible. Even when she says, well, you see how he is now. If that's abuse, I haven't seen that he's being terrible. There seems just to be, this is what I feel. This is what I feel. I feel like there's been abuse in the past, but I don't have any record of it. We're not trying to say you should put people in positions where abuse can continue, but the rest of your actions are usually commiserate with that sort of finding. If he's abusive, then yeah, even if you haven't documented that, you don't want to be anywhere near that person, anywhere in the same room or vicinity as that person. At the very same time, you still want that person's resources, because a very difficult thing to sit here and parse out in front of the judge.
Correct.
Is she afraid of her dad?
No, I do not let her ride in the car with him because he's a gang member and he's been shot at in 2 states. And I refuse to let my daughter be around him for her safety. I don't want him getting shot at again and my child's in the car. And that's another reason he cannot come to my house. He's a gang member.
Okay.
And I don't want him bringing that.
Allegedly, he's a gang member.
Ma'am, it's
Did you know
documented.
that before you had a baby by him?
Unfortunately, I did.
Okay.
But Judge, I should probably clarify something here.
Yes.
This is a registration of an out-of-state order, and there is no visitation order for Mr. Fantroy in it. So I'm not, if that helps at all.
That does help.
And I should clarify, it doesn't say he doesn't have any visitation.
Yeah, I know you're saying it's just not a part of the child support order. Because in a lot of states, they don't put visitation in child support orders.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Fantroy, unmute yourself for me, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, calmly tell me your response to what Ms. Wells has said about the non-disclosure.
Yeah, I'm a gangster. Yeah, I've been shot at. Yeah, of course. That's how I get down.
This is real sad and it's unfortunate because I'm raising 4 little girls already, 3 that aren't mine biologically, 1 that is, which is her sister.
Jazz. That is the greatest question right there. Wait, all that stuff you're telling me, all that stuff wasn't it cool back then? Wasn't it dope back then? Why is it an issue now? Now for 13 years, now it's like, no, you can't do these things. You were about that life at one point in time. I'm not saying that we don't grow, we don't change, we don't have a better understanding, but if that was such a thing, then why? Why did you have a kid? I understand you want to go, you want to sample, you want to taste of that sort of life, but why tie yourself to something like that for the rest of your life?
The communication isn't there because my child doesn't have a phone, which I've offered to buy her a phone or put her on my plan, but she gives her a phone that has Wi-Fi and she allows and picks and chooses when she allows us to talk to her. The moment that she's talking about, as far as if she's scared of me per se, then why would she permit my daughter to come stay with me? That's 1. 2, that weekend was my birthday weekend, and we had a nice hotel, and I flew her brother into town so he could see her because he hasn't seen her. And I was going to take my daughter shopping at North Park, but her communication is so bad because she's so angry and such a manipulative liar that I wasn't
Mr.
able to.
Fantroy, can you just refrain
I'm sorry.
from disparaging remarks about Ms. Wells, sir?
I got you, Judge. But that went bad. She cussed my daughter out because they didn't communicate until my daughter, as I mentioned, my daughter's phone is off. So she called again when she was in the car under Wi-Fi and was like, "Hey, where you at?" I'm like, "Tell your mom to bring you to Northport," which was 15 minutes from the hotel. And she
Yeah, it's not the other side of Dallas. Okay. I'd understand if you were in New York, right? Best city in the world. Don't argue with me about that. Yeah. You saying, oh, no, I'm just like 15 miles away. Yeah, that could be, that could take all day. Hey, that could take me all day to get to you. But Dallas, no, North Park from downtown, that's been like 10, 15 minutes. That's a, that's, that's really, it's not that big of a deal. But it is when you kind of want to make this obtuse, you want to make this difficult. Yeah. And it's all in the framing. It's all how you say something.
lives in Garland, which isn't far, so it's not 40 minutes. But she didn't bring her. So the next time I requested to see her, I did get to see her, and that was only for a night. She sent her with an Apple AirTag with a disconnected phone. And I haven't seen her since then. And that's the first time in the last 5 or 6 years. And prior to that, this incident she's referring to in 2015, I was living in Los Angeles. I actually paid full round trips for everything, and she made me pay her while she's saying I stole from her and stole from her house. She made me pay her to bring my daughter out there so I could take her to Universal Studios and to Disney World. And those are the memories that I have. But right now I'm trying to, yeah. So everything that she's saying is
Now,
non-factual.
answer this question for me. You
Go
work
ahead,
in
man.
an industry that's cyclical. And so why shouldn't we average your child support over the period of time that we have?
Because this year is the most that I was paid, and it's because of the largest data center project in Texas, which is the Stargate program, and that's what I started at. That program has a revolving door, and I'm not there anymore. So this year I made $38 an hour. Last year I was at probably about $32 an hour. But with that being said, we're averaging a child support payment based off of 3 months of me doing the best that I've done in my
We're
38
averaging it
years of
off of
living.
6 months.
Okay, well, 6 months. But if you see the difference, 4 months of that was extreme money.
Okay.
And the other half is not the same. So that's the only reason I'm asking. It's just not realistic.
Okay. Mr. Talley, is there anything else, sir?
Nothing further from the state.
Okay. Then I will order that dad maintain private health and dental insurance through his employer. I will order child support at $1,133 per month, and the non-disclosure is denied. Anything else?
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With that non-disclosure being denied, does that mean I could pick my daughter up? Or is she like, how does that go?
You don't have any visitation. You don't have a visitation schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have anything that sets out when you're supposed to see your daughter and when you're not.
Mm-hmm.
What you would need to do is file for this order to be modified and ask that visitation be addressed.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions?
That's it.
Ms. Wells?
Why are you disclosing my address and phone number to him if I've asked not to?
Just because you asked, you didn't give me anything that I thought that was some family violence supposedly that happened in 2015. We're 10 years down the road now.
He hasn't changed. And
ma'am, okay, I've made my ruling.
Okay.
If you don't like it, if you think it's not fair, or if you just don't agree, you have 3 days to appeal, 30 days to file a motion for new trial.
Okay. You're not allowed at my house. Don't come to my home.
I won't. Look how you act.
You're a deadbeat.
Ma'am, that's not what we're going to do on this hearing. If there are no further questions, you are both free to go.
Miss Worrell.
Listen, when that is the state of things, it's a difficult situation where you guys are attached at the hip for the rest of your life. When you have that daughter, then that's going to be a thing there that you have to deal with, right? You're right. Jess, she wanted the money. Boom, secured. This dude, he got it. This gangster, right? This gangster that's making per diem that gets shot at. I got the money secured, right? $1,100. Now he knows where I live. Right? Now he knows he should go and actually modify a visitation order so he can actually now have legit time. If you're so afraid of him, then yeah, I want nothing to do with you. I'd be off the radar. Never seen you again. Never seen you. And yeah, there'd be plenty of reports about that. But what it's hard not to. We don't want to sit here and deny that what she's experiencing isn't real, right? We're saying, well, things like this haven't happened before, but this is a good reason why a lot of people just say, yeah, I'd rather not. And I would hope more people look at stuff like this and say, yeah, it doesn't make sense to tie myself with someone that obviously hates me, right? Where you guys hate each other to the point where now all this becomes complete contentious. It's not about what's in the best interest of the child anymore. Should the child, should the daughter know the father? Yeah. Even saying that, yeah, the brother hasn't seen the sister in ages as well. To the point where you won't drive another 15 minutes to go and make sure they see each other. To the point where you're sending her there with the Apple AirTag. I mean, like this is Mission Impossible. Right? This is Mission Impossible. I got to make sure I know this is. But now you guys again are tied at the hip forever, right?
I did not agree to pay the mortgage,
What did you agree to pay?
What did I agree to pay? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. What a great country. You mean you thought he was just going to leave the house, let you stay there for free? The judge said to wait. That means you don't say anything. Maybe they'll let me live in their houses in Hollywood for free. I don't know what to tell you two. Don't interrupt me. He might be. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he isn't.
He is.
All right. Okay. Stop.
Today we've got an entitled ex-wife bringing out the full waterworks and playing the victim like she's auditioning for a soap opera. She really believes she's entitled to a free home and somehow doesn't have to pay the mortgage because she deserves it. The crazy part is the house isn't even in her name. Yet she's crying like someone stole her birthright. You can see the judge already losing patience because this isn't wish upon a star court, this is real life with real bills. Meanwhile, the man hasn't said a single disrespectful word, but somehow she's the one falling apart. I don't know if she thinks the courtroom is a charity program or a sympathy contest, but today she's about to find out that's not how the world works. Do you think the judge is going to set her straight, or will she keep digging the hole deeper? Let's go ahead and dive in.
What'd I do with Bobby Bell and Tamisha Bell?
I'm here.
Here.
What'd you guys do now? You told me you listened to and understood the rights, right?
I do.
And how much do you think is owed, Mr. Bell?
Now I got a new statement from Citizens last week. They said the mortgage is $35,028.90. Plus I got a shut off from DTE for $2,556.51, which that total is $37,585.41.
How much were you renting this house to her for, sir?
Excuse me? I didn't hear your question.
How much were you renting the house for? $3,200?
I was nothing. She's just supposed to be assuming the mortgage, taking care of the mortgage, and making sure she paid the mortgage every month while she was there. I was making no money, no profit off of it, or nothing like that.
Were you two?
We used to be in a relationship. We used to live.
Slow down. Were you two in a relationship?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And the house is in your name, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And somehow.
And I am on a deed.
She is not.
You are what?
She is not on the deed. She says she's on the deed, but she is not.
I am on the deed.
And either way, that doesn't still make any payments, being paid. She hasn't.
This is not something that you really have to sit here and argue about, right? You just produce a document. Right? Whether or not you're in deed or not, just produce a document. There it is. Simple. Right? You're either on it, you're not on it. But what he's saying is like, yo, you're supposed to pay. You're supposed to pay. And you're just good with it? Listen, a lot of stuff you don't have to sit here and fight about like the minute details. You just produce said document when it comes to court. Again, it's dispassionate, sometimes it's cold. This document says this. You're saying that, great, cool, whatever. This document says otherwise. Court's going to look at it and say, great, moving on, next thing.
Paid the mortgage, ma'am, you for 10 months?
So let me explain. If I can explain, please. So the house was in bankruptcy, and then the house went from bankruptcy. It was in bankruptcy for almost 2 years, and then it went from bankruptcy to a modification. From a modification to a forbearance. Once again, when it was about to come out of forbearance, then we found the buyer for the house. After
Those of you following along, house can't be in bankruptcy. Maybe she means foreclosure.
we got the payoff to sell the house to the buyer, we found out we were upside down in the house. So now Bobby wants me to go back and pay what he would have gotten if we weren't upside down in the house. We never had an agreement to pay, never had a lease or anything. Yes, I've been in the house. Neither one of us couldn't afford the house. So when the house was in bankruptcy court, and then went into the modification. While the modification was going on, we honestly thought that it was going to go into foreclosure.
Hang on a second. Slow down.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah.
Why did you leave the, wait a minute. Why did you leave the house, sir?
Because we just didn't work as a couple, you know. We wasn't.
I know, but you own the house and you left the house. And you're telling me she agreed to pay the mortgage while she was living in the house?
She did agree to pay the mortgage, and she has agreed to leave the house for it's been almost 2 years. She's supposed
Did you agree to pay the mortgage, ma'am?
I did not agree to pay the mortgage,
but did you agree to pay?
What did I agree to pay? Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing? What a great country. You mean you thought he was just gonna leave the house, let you stay there for free?
Absolutely not. The house was going into foreclosure.
I want you to listen to my question. Stop.
All right.
Stop. Are you telling me, how long ago did you leave the house, Mr. Bell?
It's been over a year, probably a year.
All right, slow down. That's all I wanted to know.
How entitled does one person have to be to expect to get the house after a breakup when the home wasn't even in her name? Then on top of that, she expects the other party to continue paying the mortgage while she sits there doing absolutely nothing. That's not divorce, that's a deluxe subscription to someone else's bank account. She expects the entire world to be handed to her, and she's genuinely shocked that no one is buying her victim performance. I'm frustrated for the guy, but you can tell the judge is too, because he's giving her the "I cannot believe you're saying this with a straight face" stare. She's talking for 3 minutes straight and somehow manages to say absolutely nothing of value. It's like her entire strategy is talk louder, cry harder, and hope no one notices that she has no legal argument. At this point, she has to know she's wrong and is just trying to play the system because no rational adult believes their ex is required to bankroll their entire lifestyle forever. That might work in a fairy tale world where unicorns pay the electric bill, but not in a courtroom where decisions are based on law, evidence, and responsibility. And I promise you, the judge is just waiting for the perfect legal moment to shut this circus down. She can pretend she's the victim all she wants, but the mortgage company doesn't accept tears as a form of payment. Hopefully the judge finally says the words everyone else is thinking.
You're telling me he left the...
So listen, let's just do a little real estate business real quick. Business. Hey, you're saying that they're upside down. Those that understand, just like what the value of the house is, of what you owe. The luck description, yeah, that was a good line. That was part of that. Good job. You owe more, but they saying what the house is worth, you owe more than it's worth. So even if you sold it at that point in time, you'd still owe the lender money, citizens like this. So if you owe $150,000 a house, and the house is saying, it's worth 100. Cool. Even if you sell this, and at that point, if you haven't been making payments, the court is going to sell it, or not the court, the lender is going to sell it just to try to satisfy their own. They're not going to try to get top dollar. They want it off the books quick, but you still owe. They're fine with you still owe. They're fine with that. They just want to say, this is a loss. We're not getting any interest payments on this. This is a loss. Let's sell this. Someone else hopefully can get a loan on this, and fine. You staying in that house knowing realistically you haven't paid anything. Haven't paid anything. You're saying no, but I tried to set up, we're trying to sell it. No, you're sitting there, for 10 months you didn't pay anything. You knew someone was supposed to pay. Hey, even if you're saying we didn't have any type of agreement, this is why when it comes down to this, you need to have these things in writing, just like the previous case we looked at. You got to have these. You can't pay in cash. You can't just do word of mouth. You can't do anything and saying, well, you should have known better. Even if the court wants to side with you, even if the court wants to understand that, okay, we get what you're trying to say. We get what should have been happening. Any reasonable adult would have moved like this. No, get it in writing, right? Get it in writing. Hopefully, get it in blood and get it in writing. But otherwise, you can't just sit there and just make this silly assumption because, like she said, the court's looking for a legal avenue to sort of chastise you.
House, no agreement, and just you can live here until?
No, it was a verbal agreement that she would take care of the mortgage until she was able to leave that house and find her something else. We've had sales for the house a couple of times, and she won't leave the house.
Hang on a second, guys. Wait 1 second.
I am the one who got the sales for the house.
The judge said to wait.
Can I please speak?
Wait.
Okay.
The judge said to wait. That means you don't say anything. Well, I can't say that this isn't something that I've seen happen before. I mean, this is what happens. People think they can commingle, live in different houses together. One owns, one doesn't own. One rents, the other doesn't rent. And now you guys got yourselves in a big pickle. I mean, this doesn't seem right. You just can't imagine living in a house that has a $3,500 mortgage payment for free. I mean, this would be a great country. Maybe they'll let me live in their houses in Hollywood for free. I don't know what to tell you two. Don't interrupt me. I think you both better get some lawyers in here that know what they're doing. I'm adjourning this 2 weeks. You guys get some lawyers. That's what you need to do. This is an expensive asset you're talking about. You don't want to lose everything, Mr. Bell. I don't know what the status is. I don't want to know right now. But you gotta, how much is that house worth?
It's worth, they did appraise and they saying like right at 500 now. But she got it so upside down, I would have to pay to sell the house.
I have it upside down.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
So if the house is worth 500,000, depending on when this court case is, right? And this is now we're just getting to the real estate side of it. 500,000, and it's upside down, saying that you owe more than 500 for it. What was it worth originally? Maybe 800, and it lost value. What was the mortgage you had on this thing? If it's 3,500, depending on taxes and insurance, yeah, pretty significant. Or, and this is free game, how you acquired the house matters, right? When we see a lot of stuff like this where it's saying you only have to put down $10,000 to get into this. Well, they're using, say, FHA, say it's 3.5% of the total sale price of the house. That's all you have to put down to get you in this house. Yeah, that will mean versus conventional loans where you put down 20%. You owe more now monthly. You're borrowing more money to cover this rather than I'm borrowing 80% of the value of this. That's what I'm going to the bank to say I need about 80%, right? 80%. And I put this down. We could do this and we get this deal. I got the 20%. Now you go in the bank and say, yo, I need about 96% in order to make this happen. Give me 96.5% value of this house. And the bank's like, cool, but I need private mortgage, insurance on top of what your monthly is. And sometimes we get so caught up in the goal and wanting to be in a house that we're not paying attention to how we acquire it. We're not paying attention to the math and the numbers of what actually ends up happening. You borrowed a lot more. Therefore, your equity position in the house is minuscule. So now you haven't paid for 10 months. You owe $35,000 on something that you probably had a very, very high loan number on. Now you're upside down. Now, even if you go through and you settle this up and you find a way to make this happen, you sell it, you're just walking away from the deal. And at this point, you owe money. Like you said, I'd have to pay money to sell it. What's the point of this? Right? So how you acquire the thing is critically important, especially when it comes down to real estate. How you acquire it matters so much.
Please say something.
Ma'am, I'm not going to be here to referee this right now. I'm not going to let you guys squabble across the cameras here, telling one why the other one got it upside down, or he did, or you did, or anybody else did. I'm adjourning this to June the 16th. At what time, Jen? And you're going to
10 a.m.
At 10 a.m. and you're going to come back with some lawyers. And then we're going to set it for trial. Okay? I mean, you guys are both hurting each other at this point, as far as I can tell. But I don't know all the details, but I'm sure I'm certainly not going to resolve them now. But
yeah, tell him why you couldn't go to I had to get a restraining order on him. He was abusing me. It's a lot of stuff. A lot.
Right, hang on.
If you check the records, I've called the police here so many times before.
Ma'am, that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
All right, Jazz, I'm giving the real estate gems for free. For free. It's not even a real estate video.
Yeah, because you wouldn't let me talk.
Ma'am.
Okay.
You need to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Was he charged with anything ever?
No, because they could never catch him here. He wasn't.
Right. Slow down.
No.
You said that you had restraining orders on him.
Yeah.
Did you get PPOs, or were these?
I got a
PPO. I didn't think I was done talking yet. Did you think I was talking yet?
No.
Would you please stop interrupting me?
Okay.
Did you have charges that you filed against him where he was the defendant in a domestic violence charge?
This woman needs a basic lesson in respect and courtroom etiquette. How hard is it to just let someone talk, especially the judge, the one person in the room who actually matters? It can't be that difficult to sit down, breathe, and let the legal system work the way it's supposed to. Instead, she's interrupting, talking over her ex, and trying to drown the room in drama to get her way. Judges don't come to work to referee personal squabbles or babysit grown adults. And when you're dealing with a house worth $500,000, running your mouth nonstop is not a winning legal strategy. The judge absolutely made the right call by adjourning this and telling both sides to get lawyers, because this is going nowhere fast. If both of them acted like civilized adults, they probably could have handled this without court, but when one person tries to take advantage of the other, I don't blame him for stepping away and letting the judge handle it. And this right here is why every relationship should come with clear agreements about who owns what, because when things go south, you don't want to be fighting over a house like two kids fighting over a toy. Hopefully next time she shows up with a lawyer, a plan, and a grip on reality.
No.
Getting a lawyer may not give you the grip on reality. And there's that one little caveat, that one little tweak. The house is worth $500,000. House is worth $500,000 to the general public. To them, it's negative $35,000. They're squabbling over basically who's going to have the bill to sell this place. Who's supposed to pay this thing? You can't, at one hand, saying, "Yo, it's my house," but she's got to pay the bill. You allow that to happen. They're saying, right? She kind of put her foot in foot in her mouth in the very beginning, saying, "No, I'm on the deed." In this case, you don't want to be on the deed, right? You don't want to be on the deed. You want to be like, "Oh, his place, right? He hasn't paid. I was just here. He told me I could stay." That's a better argument in terms of the judge is going to look at you and say, "Is that true?" Nah, we had a verbal agreement on it. But when you're claiming that ownership, you also own that debt, right? But sometimes you are so used to just arguing, you just want to go back and forth with it, that you want to have your point proven. Sometimes you got to think, is it worth it? What am I doing here? This is why he's making complete sense. You should have just got a lawyer to understand. I know what you're saying, and the lawyer is your attorney is supposed to translate what you're feeling into what is permissible by law.
Oh, I just
hang on. You said you had a restraining order. Did you go down to Detroit and get a PPO against him?
Yes.
All right. Is that PPO still in effect?
No.
Does that PPO have anything at all to do with the fact that you guys got yourselves in a deep issue here with regard to the loss of this property, whether it's Mr. Bell's owned otherwise, or you own some or don't own some? Do you guys realize does that have anything at all to do with this?
No. Can I say this, Your Honor?
Why are you bringing up issues that have nothing to do with the fact that this house is apparently underwater and he thinks that you owe him $35,000?
The reason why I'm bringing it is to establish that he's doing this to be vindictive. That's why.
Might be, and I'm going to hear all that at trial, ma'am. I'm not foreclosing you from arguing anything. I think that this
yes,
is.
He's doing it to be vindictive.
Why are you interrupting me again? Please. He might be. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he isn't.
He is.
All right. Okay. Stop. I'm adjourning this to June 16th.
Look at him. Happy that he made me cry. I'm telling you.
I'm not happy that you keep interrupting me.
He is.
I'm not happy that you keep interrupting me.
Your Honor, I'll just leave. I don't have to
slow down
here or anything. I'll just leave. I don't want to drag this out and have this man in my life anymore.
All right, slow down.
Leave.
All I'm telling you is I'm encouraging both of you to get lawyers, and maybe you can actually work together so people don't.
We're not going to be able to. He's crazy. And he's sitting here pretending like he's not. And I know it may seem like that I am because I'm interrupting you, but I have been through a lot when it comes to this man in this house. I dumped my money into this house just like he did.
All right. Then maybe you guys should figure something out. I'm telling you what I'm suggesting. I'm telling you both you should be here in person June the 16th. I'm telling you, you should come with some lawyers, and then we'll figure out, they can figure things out. June 16th at 10. If you don't want to, I don't know what to tell you, ma'am. I'm going to hear you out. You guys come here with lawyers. We're going to set a trial date, or they can resolve it. But I think you need some representation, both of you right now. If you're in danger of losing a house worth $500,000, I don't want to know how much debt you have in it, what your mortgage is or anything else. Just come here June 16th at 10. If it's not resolved that day, I'm setting it for trial. But you're going to have to prove, sir, that she agreed to pay that. If that's what it is. You got some obstacles here, both of you.
Yeah, that's he's giving them free game, but he's telling you, yeah, if you're saying you own the house, if you're saying that, like, understand that, you're saying this is your property, then you're responsible for that debt. If you're saying that, if we had a verbal agreement, there's no way for you to prove that. Without a witness willing to come and testify, without something, and you don't, if she's just saying, I'll just leave, right? It's still going to be your problem to deal with. This is one of those things where there's not a lot of leverage outside of just saying, like, if she's really serious about it, I'll just leave. And then just leave and just take that out, sell that thing, and then take the L on that payment. You want to sue in not in small claims, 35,000. But otherwise, I'd be doing exactly what he's doing. I'd keep my mouth shut, let her keep talking about how she put her money into it, commingle this thing together and say, no, that debt is hers as well. Don't try to foist it all on her and say, no, we both have to pay this. Because you can keep saying that this place is worth $500,000. To us, it's not. To us, it's not. To us, this is the bill.
I'm just telling you both, I think you'd be much better off with a lawyer on June 16th. And then I can set it for trial. You raised your hand, ma'am. Do you have anything else?
I do. I want to ask if I can just leave and not have to come back to court. I don't.
Lady, it's a scam artist, Your Honor.
What's that?
I put all those names on the thing because she uses several names. I've been to the police or made a report, and they know who she is and how she does, because just like she doing this crime scene now, she'll do some stuff. She spit on me, did all kind of stuff, and then call the police and act like I'm doing stuff to her.
Governor, he is lying. He is lying.
Hey,
These dictionaries and filed a report so they would know.
Lying.
Sir, ma'am,
He's lying.
ma'am.
Yeah.
He's claiming that you owe money, and he's asking me to evict you. So in answer to your question, if you choose to vacate this case, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't pay for a money judgment.
Yeah, we all, even in regular relationships, right? When we have disagreements and we try to sit there and go back and forth, and we're saying, no, that didn't happen, this happened, and once that, you can't be moved as men. Once you're not moved by just what someone is saying, then you see sort of the emotion side come out. And now I feel like I'm responsible for your emotion. That's kind of how we were, I would say programmed, but programmed is probably a fine way. This is how we were socialized, that I'm responsible for your emotions. And when you are sad, when you are upset, I'm supposed to do my best to get you at the very least back to baseline. If not that, then happy. You see how many times you do it, like, oh, what would it take to make you happy? What do you need? This, that. Oh, you want? We've been doing it. We've been taught to do it. It's happened to us since we were little. Oh, you want to go for ice cream? Oh, you want? I give you this because you're feeling upset. And then as you get socialized as a boy, one day you're just no longer the recipient of that. Now we say you made your sister upset. Go fix that. Go apologize. Right. So you're when you now become an adult, and you, again, I'm talking to men, you see a lot of this where you're now still feeling like I'm responsible for getting you back to baseline. Now you go out and you try to use something like this in court, and they look at you like, stop. Stop. It's not moving the needle at all. If you don't got the facts to support this, you can keep crying.
This will be a moot point. He's not suing for a money judgment right now. So you can go consult with a lawyer. I'm not going to give you advice. I strongly think you should consult with a lawyer. I'll see everybody here June 16th. Hang on. At 10 o'clock, and that will be in person. Okay, please? In person. All right? We'll see you guys then, June the 16th at 10 o'clock in person.
How is she blaming the other party?
Yeah, you see enough of that where you just like, yo, we're gonna have to find a better way to deal with it, right? You saw that switch up, and then an easy thing to see is like, yo, I'm seeing all the motions, right? I'm seeing all the motions of tears, of crying, but I'm not seeing them at all. And again, when you're claiming and you haven't saying, oh, he's abusive, I've got this PPOs, why am I still in the house? Why am I still in the house where he knows where I am, where he's got justifiable reason to be there? Nah, I'm out. Right? If you like, yo, I never want to do this again, I just want him out of my life. It doesn't look like he's trying to keep you there. He left out the house. You guys had a verbal agreement or not. Leave. When we don't have the facts, people are going to start asking those very real questions, like, well, why didn't you just extricate yourself from this situation from the first place? That's again, I apologize, right? I apologize. Maybe I should have waited till tomorrow, but I don't know my schedule. I don't know if I'm going to be available to do like a little morning show, but I want to get a habit of trying to do a little bit more of these. And then we do have our full-on production with the lights and the music that we do once a week, and I'll schedule that and see when I can make that one happen next. And I hope to see, well, the usuals, the regulars are here, and see if we get more people to slowly join, grow this space out, grow this little community out. Again, apologize on right, my bad. Better plan it next time, and not doing this on Valentine's Day. That's on me. I'll do better next time. Besides that, I'll see you guys in the next one.